Hey everybody, Phil here from Japan with another coronavirus video update about the situation here. And I just want to say that up until now, I've kind of been a little bit flippant about in my videos, and perhaps a little bit critical, and perhaps a little bit out of focus. And you know, that was kind of out of frustration, and some of you saw this as Japan bashing. I mentioned this several times because I do get quite a lot of comments about that. And maybe I am Japan bashing where Japan bashing is warranted, and let me just say that this is going to be one of those videos. Because the situation here is kind of dire, in my opinion. Let's just recap where we are. A little while ago, there was a nationwide state of emergency declared, a little more than a week ago. That has not been heeded, and we see on the news stories about people, you know, lining, huge lines of cars to go down to Kamakura outside of Tokyo, to, you know, and down to the seaside and things like this. And of course the big fear is that the big holiday of the year is coming up, which is called Golden Week, and that's about a week of holidays, and normally it's the big time people go on a family vacation, because at the end of the year it's more of a ceremonial thing. So this is the big family vacation. And of course, what they're saying is don't go anywhere. Please stay home. Okinawa in particular is terrified of what's going to happen here, because there is no power, it seems, for the government to actually stop anybody from doing anything. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But Okinawa is seeing a ton of flights scheduled between Tokyo and Okinawa, a ton of tourists coming and bringing, quite frankly, a ton of virus. Okinawa had escaped the virus until a group of tourists Japanese tourists came from Tokyo down and started this spread there. So you can understand their fear. You know, Okinawa is famous for having the oldest living residents in the world. You know, when people talk about how the Japanese live a very long time, it's not actually true. It's the Okinawans who live a very long time. So there's a lot of old people there, so they're very, very concerned. So please don't go to Okinawa. In other things, maybe I should have started the video with this, because this is what I want to call the video. Japan is really getting ready to become the next United Kingdom. And I don't mean that we're going to, you know, start having fish and chips. What I mean is, there's a parallel, an unnerving parallel, between the situation in the UK and the situation here in Japan. Now, one of the other comments that I often get on my videos, and privately sent to me, is that I should just shut up and stop whining because the situation in Japan is not really so bad. And that there's only, you know, been, as of right now, what it is, I don't have the thing up there, but let's say it's 300 and something deaths in Japan. And that's very true. But at the time that the state of emergency was declared in England, there was also only 300 deaths. That in a month, this is incredible when you think about it, in a month has gone in England from 300 and something to 18,000 deaths. And that's during the state of emergency. Okay? So, what's to stop Japan from going from 300 to 18,000 deaths in a month during the state of emergency? What's to stop Japan? Learning from England's mistake, not taking it very seriously at the beginning, and guess what? Didn't learn. Exactly the same thing. It's kind of interesting comparison. Exactly the same thing happened. In England, state of emergency was declared, I think, on a Thursday. That weekend, you have the video of huge queues of people going up to Snowdonia National Park and all these other places like that. And what happens in Japan, state of emergency declared on a Thursday, I believe. That following weekend, huge queues of people going to Kamakura and down to the beach. So we didn't learn, we can see what's going to happen. It's like we're just following behind England. And it's actually, in a sense, worse here. And I think it could quite possibly end up being worse here. Why? Because there's no legal ability for the government to stop businesses from opening or to keep people shut in. Example here is pachinko parlors. If you don't know what pachinko is, it's kind of like a Japanese, well, Asian kind of slot machine type thing. If you have pachinko parlors are deafening inside. It's like a slot machine played with these tiny little silver balls, and it's like a white noise machine. Quite incredible. But a lot of pachinko parlors are staying open, even though the government has specifically asked them to close. So the governor of Osaka Prefecture phoned every pachinko parlor, and a lot of them just told him, no, we're not going to do it. If they even answered the phone, a lot of them hung up on him. Again, it's incredible footage from the news last night. Incredible, hung up on him, wouldn't answer the call, or just told him no, they're not going to close. He has no power to close them. They are exact petri dishes for spreading this virus, and principally, the patrons are older. So what's happened is that the Pachinko Parlor Association put out a press release that said, you know what? You don't have the legal power to close us, so we're going to stay open. If you want to pay us to close, we'll close. So it's kind of extortion. They wouldn't do it, for any kind of civil liberties reason or, public health reason. They're going to stay open. And one of those pachinko parlors actually filed a legal complaint against the Osaka governor for harassment, for phoning up and asking them to close. I always thought the Japanese were kind of obedient and follow the rules. What the hell? It's incredible, really. My other story from the week about this is that again on the news 2 days ago, there was this is the problem, we get these mixed messages, okay? We don't really, and I can understand some public confusion because of these mixed messages. So the kind of tag into the new piece on the news was coronavirus causing problems for pregnant women. And I thought, oh, okay, that's very true. As a pregnant woman, of course I would be concerned that my baby would be infected or whatever. That's not really what the story was about. So the story was about this woman, pregnant, living in Tokyo, but like a lot of people living in Tokyo, not from Tokyo, she happened to be from Iwate. And Iwate is the prefecture or province directly north of me. They claim to have no cases of coronavirus, which, I mean, come on. But okay, they claim they have no cases in the prefecture. So this woman's from there. So she does exactly, this is last weekend, by the way. So she does exactly what we're told not to do. She gets on a train. She goes to Iwate, of all places, the place that doesn't have any coronavirus. And she goes to a hospital and says, I'd like to have my baby here. The hospital says no. The hospital implemented a policy from the beginning of March that says you have to be in the prefecture for 2 weeks before giving birth, and you have to be symptom-free or test negative. Both of those things. She freaks out. Livid. She goes to another hospital. The hospital says the same thing. No, we have this policy, you have to be here 2 weeks and test negative. She goes to a third hospital. Third hospital admits her, but says you have to have a test. So she has a PCR test. Test comes back, and they deliver the baby by C-section some 10 hours later or something like that. So maybe it's me and my Western view of things, but you would think that story is about this woman endangering Iwate, breaking the rule about traveling between prefectures, potentially endangering her baby, I would think, with this travel and so on and so forth. No, that's not what the story was about. First of all, they named those 2 hospitals that wouldn't let her in. They did not name the hospital that would let her in. And I, as a member of the public, I want to know who that 3rd hospital was because I don't want to go there. But they named the 2 hospitals that wouldn't let her in. The 2 hospitals that wouldn't let her in publicly apologized to her for causing the inconvenience, and they hoped that in the future they can have rules, blah, 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 blah. So it ended up being a story that was kind of like, was she in the wrong? They never said she was in the wrong, actually, in the whole story. They, of course they can put the facts out there, but they never said that she defied a travel ban and went. They never hinted at that. They kind of made it look like, look at those bastards at the hospital. They wouldn't, let the poor suffering pregnant woman in. So that's a mixed message, in my opinion. So this is what we're dealing with. So let's try not to become England. That would be nice. I am a passport-carrying British citizen, by the way, in case you didn't know. So when I say that, it hurts my heart to say not to become England, but let's not become England. Google have, released their mobility numbers. Now, unfortunately, these don't cover last weekend, so we don't really know. But grocery and pharmacy up 4% versus England, where it's down 30%. Parks and recreation in the UK down 75%, whereas in Japan it's down only 30%. No, I'm sorry. Down 1% for parks. So basically no change. Workplace down 20%, whereas in the UK workplace is down 70%. So people here are just not doing it, not staying home. So, not so bad here. We only have 300 dead and 12 or 13,000 infected now. Let's see what happens 4 weeks after state of emergency is declared. That's it for me. Bit of a long one. Talk to you soon.